I hope everyone's been enjoying the Christmas holidays and is looking forward to the new year in a few hours, even if for some of you 2020 may have already started. Today, with the Overwatch League 2020 season now less than 2 months away, which is certainly a relief to say, I've decided to start putting together some team previews ahead of next year, as it appears most of the teams are now done in the way of off-season moves and have finalised their rosters. This series will see me making a short video on each team over this next month, which will eventually lead to my 2020 power rankings. And to kick us off, I want to look at the interesting LA Gladiators. The past 2 seasons have seen the LA Gladiators enter the league with plenty of potential and promise, but to some, made them a good pick as a potential dark horse. Indeed, in terms of the regular season, both 2018 and 2019 have seen them put together strong records resulting in 4th and 5th place league finishes respectively, giving the Purple LA side playoff berths in both years of the Overwatch League. Interestingly, an accolade only shared by the New York Excelsior and the London Spitfire. However, it has been at this stage where their challenges crumbled, with postseason inconsistency resulting in early exits on both occasions. The question therefore facing the LA Gladiators heading into 2020 is not only whether they can be considered a dark horse again, but also whether this roster is built to be legitimate challengers should they even reach the playoffs. Unlike at the end of the inaugural season, where the Gladiators kept on most of their roster with just a little bit of tinkering, this off-season has seen this squad make almost wholesale changes, with DP now taking the reins and control as their hybrid head coach and general manager. I think it would be best if I tackle what changes have occurred on a position-by-position basis, just to be clear, so I'll start at DPS. All 3 DPS players from their 2019 squad have left, with Decay heading to Dallas as part of a trade, Hydration leaving for the Houston Outlaws, and lastly Shawfall finding a new home with the Toronto Defiant. In their place, the Gladiators have now made 3 very interesting signings, with 2 contenders players in Mirror from the Uprising Academy and Jaro from Team Envy, but also the former London Spitfire player, Birdring. At Tank, the changes have come in number as well, with a starting 2019 duo of Raw and Void leading to join the Washington Justice and Shanghai Dragons respectively. For 2020, the team has brought in OGE as part of that earlier trade I mentioned with Dallas, and have paired him alongside Space from the LA Valiant. They didn't just stop here though, as the Gladiators have also added further depth here by re-signing Bishu after a short stay at the Guangzhou Charge, and the team have also signed LH Cloudy after he left the Paris Eternal. The support position has seen much less action, with Big Goose and Shaz staying with the team, but their sub from last year, Ripper, has been released, going on to join the contender side British Hurricane, and taking his spot on the roster as Paintbrush, who before was playing on Revival and North American contenders. With Big Goose and Shaz being the only surviving members of the 2019 LA Gladiators ahead of 2020, it's fair to say that the Purple LA side will look and feel a lot different next season. Interestingly, I've seen general opinion be very mixed around this squad, with some looking at it very positively, whilst others have been far more negative. I think the biggest questions though have been directed towards their DPS trio, as on paper it certainly looks a lot weaker than their 2019 contingent. Whilst they didn't always play up to their best in 2019, Decay, Shawfall and Hydration undoubtedly have all proven quality and will be missed if their replacements don't live up to their displays or fit into DP's system. The most controversial pickup for many has been Birdring, who whilst enjoying some moments of brilliance on London for the past couple of years, has certainly been far too inconsistent, with numerous poor performances over this period as well, particularly last season, where he just appeared to lose all confidence, which just further hampered his quality of play. It can't be denied that Birdring has talent and a high ceiling when he's playing at his absolute best, and from what looking at DP has had to say about this signing, he seems really confident he'll be able to harness Birdring's potential. For me though, it's still one hell of a gamble that could work out amazingly, but at the same time it could also spell disaster for this team if Birdring fails to play well. That's why I worry that with there only being 3 DPS players on the team, a lot of pressure is going to fall onto their contenders pickups of Mirror and Jaro. From watching their play, I've already mentioned before that they are certainly both very talented and could do really well in the Overwatch League, but considering the level of quality at the DPS position throughout the league that has just only been upgraded over the off-season, and the fact that in my opinion, neither of these names have really stood out as top contender stars, I am a little hesitant to assume one way or another how they'll adapt to the league. This is why I've said before that I would like to see the Gladiators bring in just one more DPS player, preferably of experience, to just shore up this group and add a little more depth. However, considering that these players clearly impressed in trials, even against some more other highly touted off-season options that have now been picked up, it seems that DP has got the players he wants, which is a good sign on paper at least. Overall, whilst I am actually cautiously optimistic about this DPS cohort, unlike others, these are certainly the players on the LA Gladiators that we need to keep the closest eye on, as the DPS position could certainly be the area that holds the Purple LA side back in 2020. Their support group however has remained a consistent strength, with the return of Big Goose and Shaz. It still amazes me that quite a lot of people don't rate the support pairing at all, and particularly the quality of Shaz, who in my opinion is one of the best Western flex supports in the entire league. A lot of that I think comes down to their playstyle, that whilst not necessarily flashy or emphasised by highlight plays, is certainly impactful, with the duo providing the rest of their team with excellent ultimate and ability usage. This is much more focused on enabling their teammates to shine, rather than taking on the personal plaudits and responsibility, compared to players like Moth or Jonak. Even if a player like Shaz has shown on a hero like Zen that he can certainly pop off himself if needed to. To be clear, this isn't a negative point at all, and I think the unselfish play from the pair has been a key part of the team's success over the past 2 years, so it's a really good sign that DP wants to keep them at the root of his squad for next season as well. Joining these two is Paintbrush, who are apparently impressed in their team's trials as well. It seems unlikely to me that he would start in place of what already is a very established, experienced and qualified support duo, but his addition quietly has a lot of value in my opinion. Big Goose enjoyed a strong 2019, and whilst he also played well in 2018 as well, during the Mercy metas, I think Mercy herself certainly seemed to be a hero he looked far less confident on when compared to his Lucio. Therefore, considering the unknowns of 2020, the potential of having two main support options that can specialise for different metas might put the Gladiators in a good position should things drastically change in the coming months. And even if this isn't the case, from my perspective a little competition is always a good thing, to keep players driven and motivated. This leaves the tank core to dissect. Whilst a lot of concerns may centre on the Gladiators' DPS options, I think there is much more positivity surrounding what the team has done this off-season with their tank players. Raw and Void last season showed flashes of their potential, but they never really seemed to properly sync with one another, which I think perhaps may have been one of the reasons why the team felt a bit held back in 2019, with the former in particular being very inconsistent throughout the season. In OGE and Space now though, I personally believe the team has made an upgrade in quality to two players that at their peaks are some of the best at their respective positions in the league. OGE really highlighted the impact he can have at the main tank position with his excellent displays on a disappointing Dallas side, but so often relied on him to get any success at all. Space meanwhile may have started off 2019 slowly, but by the end of the season he looked really strong with a number of impressive performances, both on a vastly improved Valiant squad, but also with Team USA with their triumph at the Overwatch World Cup. On paper, should these two work really well together, this tank pairing has the makings to be one of, if not the best and strongest in the league. However, it would be wrong of me not to point out this is not a guarantee. Both OGE and Space in the past have shown that they don't always play at their best, with Space's coordination and positioning early on in the 2019 season being quite questionable, whilst OGE burned out and tailed off towards the end of last season himself. The potential for this player is definitely immense, but if things don't click quite right, the past has shown what can possibly happen. As for Bishu and Cloudy though, whilst last season didn't necessarily go the way the pair would have wanted, I still think they'll be able to make valuable additions to the team, who primarily can add flexibility and depth to a position that the Gladiators really lacked a plan B for over the course of 2019, and I think by having this role fully filled this time round, signals this opinion is shared by Deepe, and was a point he wanted to address this off-season. Looking at the Gladiators entirely though, I come back to my original question, can they be a dark horse again? In my opinion they can, but big doubts still loom. On paper their tank and support lines are easily A-grade calibre at minimum, considering the star talent at their disposal, and their DPS options have the potential to round out this squad really well also. The problem though is the word potential, and this is why I think you see a lot of people powering this team anywhere from just the lower end of a top 5 to a bottom 10, as the major unknowns at the DPS position really make it hard to tell what level this team will be able to play at. I think the Gladiators offseason has been quite strong, and it looks like Deepe is really happy with how our team is being constructed, and with their potential for further additions in the middle of the season, I certainly feel like they'll be able to make the playoffs again. But that DPS trio really holds me back from being confident they can make it any further. The 2020 LA Gladiators have the promise to be a legitimate dark horse if all of their players play at their peak. But at the same time, if my concerns, shared by many others, come to fruition, then I fear that a middle of the pack season could very easily be where this team finds itself come the end of the season. So Deepe and the rest of his coaching staff certainly have a job to do to convince us fully. But that's just what I think about the LA Gladiators heading into 2020, and I'd love to hear all your thoughts on how they'll do down in the comments below. Again, I hope everybody enjoys the new year, and if you have enjoyed, please be sure to like, subscribe and follow me on Twitter or Discord so you don't miss out. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.